In this episode, I'm joined by Peter and Matt as we discuss how combat works when you are dealing with swarms and packs. But players, I have to warn you, the episode does turn into how you can take out your whole party with just a pack of wolves. So be prepared. Welcome to the Mythras Matters Podcast, Season 1, Episode 84. Howling in the night means the packs and swarms are here. Hello and welcome to Mythras Matters, a podcast dedicated to the Mythras rule set and all its supplements. As always, I am your host, Inwils, and welcome to August. So before we get started on this month's episode, I wanted to give a huge shout out to Rael. As many of you have seen, after just over 7 years, he has formally stepped down as admin, moderator and owner of the Mythras Discord. Doug created something that started with only a few people and has now more than 2,300 members thanks to his hard work and commitment. He has created a place where we as a community can come together, ask questions, find answers, look for games and share our experiences. Thank you, Doug, for your vision and dedication. And we're all looking forward to seeing the outcome of your work on explosive firearms and cults. One element of my content I am currently working on is providing more resources for players. I see a lot of videos and posts for GMs, but I rarely see content for players. With this in mind, I've started putting myself on the player's side of the GM screen and creating content that hopefully you'll find useful. Because I'm not really a full-time player, and I know many of you are, so please do let me know the sort of content you would like to see. And if you're willing to come onto the podcast and provide us with a player's insight, I'm sure we could create an excellent episode based on your thoughts. Possibly something along the lines of everything a player would like to tell their GM, but is afraid to say. Or something like that. And staying with the player theme, when we planned the chat for this episode on animals that hunt in packs, I was keen to explore them from both the GM and the player's perspective. How GMs can prepare and use pack hunting animals in their adventures, but also how players can survive or avoid a scenario when they are being actively hunted by, say, a pack of wolves. The outcome of the chat was quite scary from the player's point of view, so be warned. Also, before I pressed record, we were talking about a film called Centurion. In the film, they are being chased by something, and the two people being pursued have a really shocking way to escape. I make a reference to the action in the actual chat without referencing the film, so do see if you can spot it. Okay, time to enjoy the chat with the two combat experts.
Hi, my name is Matt Eager. I'm Matt E. of Old Bones Publishing, and you can find our stuff on drivethroughrpg.com. And I'm also going to branch out. There's this new service that just began a couple months ago. I even forget the name of it. But anyway, it seems pretty good. So I'm gonna go there and maybe Itch also.
Oh, wow, that's you need to tell me before so I can put in what it is. And yeah, Pete, go for it.
Hi, yeah, I'm Pete. On the Mythras Discord as Hazaf, and probably anywhere else where I'm talking about RPGs, I'll be Hazaf as well. RPGs or other games. Yeah.
Fantastic. So you two are known as my combat experts now because of your wealth of knowledge and understanding of the combat rules. And we had a wonderful session about multiple mobs a couple of months ago. And I thought it'd be really good if we continue that theme about multiple mobs and look at pack animals. So creatures that actually hunt or stalk or attack in pack formation, so things like wolves or hordes of monsters. There's also insect swarms, which I think use, I don't know whether or not their rules are slightly different. We're not going to touch on rabbles and what's the other one?
Underlings.
Underlings, because we talked about that in the last episode. But I thought it'd be really nice to get your advice for both GMs and players. So GMs creating combat with pack animals, what should they do? How can they run it? But also, therefore, from the player's point of view as well, if this was the encounter, how do you survive as a player? So let's start with introducing pack animals. You're a GM, you want a pack of wolves or pack of hyenas or whatever to attack the party. What's the best way of going about it? Who would like to start?
Okay. For me, I would definitely give hints and clues before they're materialized fully. So I don't know what that would be, depending on the nature of the creature, then the sounds of them or tracks of them or something that gets your players thinking about, well, what is this? What are we disturbing or being disturbed by before they get to realize. Hopefully they will work it out just as or just after they appear. But you want them to be on the right track before the thing's revealed.
Right. And that might be anything from howling in the distance. Yeah. Therefore, is that the sort of things that we're thinking about?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, the sounds of them, the traces of them. Like if I think about like horror films, like when people might discover like a pile of bones or, prints. Something like that, a dead animal, prints, like all these things, anything that will make you think, oh, something dangerous is here and I don't yet know what it is. So then that perhaps expands it, makes it bigger and nastier and scarier than it may be when, a knight maybe isn't that scared of a wolf, but until
that's
you
good
know
drama.
what it is.
Yeah, that's good drama from the GM's chair. From the player's chair, you have to listen to what the GM is telling you. Background flavor elements might actually take on a different meaning promptly. And I was going to say, inwils, how much do you hate your players? Because that will, or put the other way, the way I really mean it is, might be easy to accidentally engineer a total party kill using pack animals if you don't give them enough hints. So mechanically speaking, one of the things that goes along with this, I think, is whether or not it's a surprise attack. And if they get some clues, or whatever, or if you have them make a dice roll and you don't tell them what it's for or whatever, right? And the result of the surprise attack before it happens, that may determine how many clues you give them or which clues you give them or something. And yeah, if you get ambushed by pack animals, you're in a world of trouble. If you know that they're coming, you can, as players, you can prepare a little bit, right? But all you
Yeah.
can do is react, and maybe you're flat-footed if they start attacking you, and you didn't know they were there. Like you said, I think in real life, in terms of fantasy creatures, I think there's more leeway as a GM. In real life, if you want to have it feel like a realistic encounter, canids like wolves and dogs and hyenas, they will like bark and yip, and there will be some hints that they're around, right? Because part of what they do, I think, is related to like herding their prey to the place that they want to attack.
Yeah.
So they want you to know they're there at some level. So your odds of avoiding a surprise attack are a little bit better, maybe. And you can drop more clues for the poor players. If it's lions, they're stalking you, and you don't stand a chance. Unless you just roll a straight up perception check, and by the way, it's going to be nighttime, so you're going to be penalized. Probably the lions aren't going to be penalized because they have low light vision or whatever, and they're the ones talking. So yeah, and lions are bigger and stronger, and it won't go so well, I'm guessing.
So I was just thinking. There's an element of fear in this, isn't there? This element that you know something is out there. So would you sort of like be asking for checks, like willpower checks related to that fear? How would you deal with that? Go for it, Pete.
Depending on the situation, then yeah, maybe, especially if things were already going wrong, or, you know, you're stragglers in a large body. You know, if you were the baggage train in an army or something, but there's this pursuit that's obviously trying to pick off what it can, then yeah, I might put willpower to them. Yeah, definitely. Even if it's not to change that, like, I don't know what the consequences necessarily would be, but I would want them to appreciate the stress that their characters are under.
Right, exactly. I agree. You know, you could have it be, you know, make a willpower save or be demoralized or something like that. That's one way to handle it.
Or run.
You might bolt.
Yeah.
Which would be bad, maybe.
Probably would be. That'd be like a fumble, right?
Yeah, I don't like your odds outrunning the wolves, at least not for long. But again, how much do you hate your players? If these characters are you know, seasoned outdoorsmen, outdoors folks who are used to the territory and they're used to living rough and they know the dangers and stuff. But if they were like urbanites who are out in the wild somewhere on some crazy mission and they weren't used to this kind of stuff, that's the part where they may have an oh poop moment. Yeah.
Thinking about this now, I see in your scenario, the Savage Swords, the desert crossing, and there's coyotes. And I had that
jackals,
right? Yeah. And they fairly quickly realized they're jackals. They saw them when I was running it. My players saw them, and they still had to be racing across the desert at like flagging endurance, not enough supplies, not enough water. And I was having then the ones who were like failing their endurance, lagging behind. And then the emboldened jackals would start approaching like, this is the one we're going to get. And then the party would respond to that. And so that led some tension and excitement around that. Yeah, check, you know, that guy's lagging back. Let's go, baby. You know, you got to.
That's nice. You played that scene right.
Did any of the parties hamstring one of the other players?
No, they didn't.
Sacrificed. I was just thinking, we're talking about pack animals. Is it possible for humans or humanoid creatures to work as pack animals? Or is that a completely different scenario?
I think
Matt?
yes, but you wouldn't. Yeah.
No, go for it, Pete. I don't mind.
Like, I wouldn't have considered it that. Like, if a pack of hunters is ambushing you, that you tend to think of that as more like, here are some NPCs, like with intelligence, not instinct, doing an ambush attack, right? With whatever plans around that, whether they do the same thing of goading you to go somewhere unfavorable for you without you realizing, or whether they're doing it to quickly come out and take out some of you or all of you.
Right.
But
So
yeah,
I think in the abstract, the answer is yes, but we don't think of it the same way because, we think of actual strategizing and setting up, knowing the lay of the land, setting up where you're going to be. And so I think it has more of a cognitive kind of aspect to it.
and also role-playing that as the GM, I would think the hunters will come up with a strategy today. The pack animals have a strategy and they will do that. So if you know, this is wolf territory, the wolves are going to do X, Y, and Z. So don't do these things, my charges that are being guided by me. I will tell them, don't do the things that wolves will exploit, and we'll move on. But you won't have that luxury with a human or humanoid intelligent pack of hunters.
I was thinking about the scene in Lord of the Rings when they've just come out of Moria and they're in the forest, and I forget which forest it is, but all of a sudden the elves disappear with arrows pointing at them. And I was just thinking, in that environment, they are superb hunters, technically. And I just wondered if there was a crossover between animals and humans. Does anybody remember the name of the forest?
Lothlorien.
Lothlorien, that's it. Yeah. Nice.
So the last perfect place in Middle Earth.
Yeah. It doesn't get corrupted or anything, I don't think, in the stories. No,
it fades away when the elves finally leave.
It fades away. So let's switch to the party, that they've just set up camp and they hear this howl, they realize they're in wolf country. If I was a player now, what advice would you give to me as a player if I hear this howling in the distance?
I would draw swords after you make more fire, make more fires around there, because that is, like, I think the one thing that you can do is to defend yourself is, again, it's strategic. It's not like strategic in the sense of choosing an action in combat or whatever. It's meta. It's higher than that. You have to convince the wolves who don't talk that they don't want to attack you. And the only way maybe to do that would be they hate fire. I mean, they fear fire. So if you can make more fire, they may stay away from you. Another thing to do would be to kill a couple of them, and then they realize that the price is too high. And that's one thing that maybe doesn't come out enough in role-playing games, is that even though these things are predators, just like you said, pack animals attack and they have their strategy and it's what they do, right? It's their shtick, right? Their shtick also as predators is not getting hurt.
Yes.
Because if you get hurt and you heal wrong or you lose one of your 4 legs or something like that, it means you can't hunt anymore. And if you can't hunt anymore, you're going to die unless the other members of the pack take pity on you and give you the scraps of what's left, right? So it's actually really important to animals at some, again, instinctive level that they try not to get hurt too badly by doing this. So if they think you can hurt them, and again, you can't just intimidate them like you could intimidate a human, right? But if you could intimidate the animal somehow, that would be a way to do it. Magic would be very good for that. You could cast Demoralize on an animal just as easily as a person.
Yeah.
So.
And would you require them to do willpower checks or not?
Yeah, that's exactly how the instructions that I give when a jackal or a wolf is facing you, and if you present them with fire, they have to make a willpower roll, or maybe if they're super starving, willpower versus their passion, eat any old thing, and in an opposed roll, and you see which one wins out.
Yeah.
You can make the players do half of that roll and you do the other half.
If they decided to run, is that a good strategy or not?
No.
Yeah, mostly not. No. I
You
mean,
can't-
it depends, like, but
You
if
can't
you
beat
are,
a quadruped in a race.
But if you are, say, already in the forest, you don't have camping gear, you weren't set up with a fire, and now 50 meters away there's multiple wolves, you don't have too many other options, right?
Yeah.
Or if they're hunting dogs or tracker dogs, if you're some kind of fugitive.
Right.
So yeah, they'll definitely, I mean, there's definitely space for that to be a really bad option, but the only option. Yeah.
Oh, you just brought up
it's a bad
something.
option.
You just brought up something good too, by the way. Another example of pack animals would be like that scene in Conan the Barbarian where they come in with the war dogs and they just unleash the war dogs. Let's slip the dogs of war, right?
Oh, nice.
Cry havoc and let's slip the dogs of war. That might be a really kind of cool set piece tactic for certain villains, you know, especially if you had a villain whose land you were on and they were a renowned hunter or whatever. They might have a bunch of hounds that were good at running people down, and mechanically it would be quite the same as your wolf pack or whatever, but it might feel rather different, you know.
Although I think that those kind of packs would be bolder, wouldn't they? They're not going to feel you out and try to catch the slowest, sickest one of you, because it's not food, right? It's just
They're
these guys.
attack dogs. Right, and that's different. Another strategy that players could use to try to stay out of trouble is to find a safe place, meaning limit the angles of attack that the creatures have. And if you have spears, set your spears pointed out like a porcupine with your back against a stone wall or something, you know, and then at least you can see them coming and maybe they'll impale themselves on your spears if you're good enough. But running is probably not going to work, because even if, and this is another thing where maybe it's not called out so much in the rules as clearly, but pack animals like this, quadrupeds, they should, if it's not written up right, they should have good endurance scores. So not only are they fast, but they can just keep following you, and they've got nothing else to do and nowhere else to be. So they could follow you for 3 days or whatever until you haven't had a chance to sleep. They haven't either, but they're good at this.
Patience.
That's what I think.
That last.
If you do try to run, it probably feels like it's working. But quite a bit, But then, you know, just when you're going to bed, howls, you know, like they're there. You didn't lose them. They just let you get a bit of distance.
Right. Let you tire yourself out.
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
I think before I press record, I think you guys were talking about a scenario when, was it hyenas or jackals? Was it jackals that were, which adventure is that in?
I see. Yeah, that's in one of Matt's The Savage Swords Against the Necromancer.
Right.
Nice.
If
Spoilers.
you're planning to play it, yeah.
Yeah, so if you're planning, yeah.
Well, it's not a huge spoiler, is it? That there is a crossing of an inhospitable region that is probably going to come up.
Right.
Yeah. And probably the players are not going to be prepared for it as well as they could be.
Because they're in a rush.
Yeah. And in that situation, there is the chance to meet with some jackals. And when I was running that, the jackals were in that patient mode. And they were there behind the group. The group knew fairly quickly what they were, what the danger was. And any chance the jackals had, they would close in, see what they can do. And if it didn't look great, they would back up a bit. But they didn't hide. They just backed up out of range and waited and followed and waited and followed. And as this journey went on and the players were rolling their endurance and such, like, then people who were flagging and not keeping up would be more threatened by the jackals. Yeah. So it's still pack, but it's kind of getting into a different kind of pack, which is more like atmosphere and demoralizing. Like, especially in that, when it came to it, they dealt with the jackals fairly well with good rolls, and they hurt a few of them, as you were saying, and then the jackals backed up and they hurt a few again, and then the jackals gave up because it was too much effort. But while they were there for like a day and a half, just not losing them, not giving up, then they were demoralizing.
That sounds excellent. And I bet a lot of people put points into their endurance after that,
the ones who survived.
I think that it must have brought some wonderful interactions with the group as well, because somebody's flagging behind. What do? Do you walk at their speed, or do you just say sorry? We're off, and that would be it. Tell me they didn't do that, Pete, please.
My group was very loyal to one another. They had someone injured at the start of the crossing, and they managed to get their injured person out. And he did get nipped a few times.
He had a few bite marks around his ankles.
That's the best you can hope for in Mythras. Nipped but not devoured.
Exactly. I made it's made, but it's not live yet. A skit about a Mythras player plays D&D, and this idea that they get 3 death saves, and I'm just like, what? I don't think. Well, we get an endurance check and that's it. It's gone. We talked a lot about wolves, and I had in my head raptors, as in dinosaur raptors. As well, because I love that velociraptors are there. That idea. And what about things like insects or rats, or because there are some rules. I think in the in the Mythras rules, in the monsters, there is an insect swarm. I don't know whether. So go for it, Matt.
Yeah, there's a set of rules for insect swarms which are not perfectly consistent with the other rules that exist in Monster Island and and classic fantasy for flocks, hordes, packs, and shoals. So there's a lot to say about this, actually. These things work more like a trap. They don't use the trap rules exactly. That's a separate thing, another thing entirely still. But they work essentially like a trap, and they work like an area effect attack that doesn't have to roll.
Yeah.
So they're basically just an ongoing damage source. And the key thing about them is they're composed of so many attacking elements that excuse me.
Bless you.
You can't, like, if you were fighting wolf, it's a creature with a stat block.
Oh.
Hang on a second. I'm continuing to cough. Peter, maybe you want to take over.
Peter, you can take over.
So they are, it's an area effect.
Yeah.
Effectively. They have size based on the same scale as humans and other player creatures. And depending on the size of them, they have a number of combat actions and an amount of coverage they can effect. So, for instance, a swarm of bees that is size 13 could cover the entirety of a regular size human. And then, they do have different rules and damage for how many combat actions they get. But then for each of those combat actions, they do damage appropriate to their size and to every location that they cover. Right. So, if you are, like, I'm looking at the core rules version, a size 13 swarm would be doing D3 damage 3 times to every location that it could affect, which would be every location on a human. And there is armor mitigation. But
that's what I was going to ask.
Yes, armor counts, but for every one of those actions, it counts 1 point less each time as they get inside the armor, they get around it. So, your knight in armor could walk around 5-10 seconds through the bee swarm and then start taking things inside the tins.
Can I passive block? Is that an option?
No. That's interesting. Maybe some things you could, but again, it's the nature of the problem. Because there are so many individual elements, each one autonomous and moving and doing what it can do, you can't even hold something in front of them because they just go around it. In general, they're small enough to do that. And they give several examples in under the flocks rules. Like, there's a swarm of bats. There are crabs. We were just talking about crabs the other day on the Mythras Discord. It always comes back to crabs, and these are like crawling crabs that are going to devour you. Not one giant crab that you can't pierce its armor, but there are jellyfish, there are leeches, piranhas, the classic.
Oh, yeah.
A school of piranhas. And if you're in, I'm currently trying to finish up this adventure I'm writing before the end of the summer. And so I've been looking at these rules rather carefully, so they're fresh in my mind. If you're fighting something in the water, you have a whole host of new problems.
Yeah.
So suddenly, the trick about
a dude in the water is bad.
Yeah, one dude is one thing, but a shoal of piranhas, that's something else.
It's not a fight anymore.
Because the trick about the swarm is you basically need to run away. And that may be difficult if you're in the water and not an aquatic creature. If you were swimming like a fish, you'd have a much better chance, right? But if you can't get away from the swarm, then that is basically a death sentence. You will be worn away in every location, and maybe not even slowly.
Can I drop and roll? And try to.
You can try.
See, they don't see the physical effect there, the visual that accompanied that. But I was just thinking, if I got all these beetles over me, dropping and rolling, or finding a water source might be really good at that point.
Jumping into water is good if the critters don't like water.
Unless they're piranhas, in which case jumping into water is
jumping
not
out of the water.
Yeah.
That's the way you escape. So
they do call that out in Raw, don't they? So an angry swarm will likely just wait where you went in.
Right, that's under insect swarm. That's right. So if there's a swarm of wasps, a giant swarm of wasps, and you go under the water, they will maybe stick around for a while. So then you find out how good the asphyxiation rules are.
Yes,
check your endurance once again. That's right.
They do say that they will, after a certain time, just lose interest because they are, if they're natural, they're not like vindictive. They're defending their
That's
hive.
exactly what I was going to, because bees swarm, or insects tend to swarm for something, some reason. It's not something that they literally just sort of say, oh, let's swarm today.
Yes, right. There's a reason.
Guy. Get him.
When you were talking about crabs, I'm listening to a book called The Nelson Touch. It's an arc roll. It's by Christopher Nuttall. And they're on an alien planet, and the aliens live underwater, and the Marines are just getting attacked by sort of like mechanical crabs that have just come out of the water. As well as they don't have pincers, but they have plasma cannons, so it's quite a. But that's what I was thinking. It's a very good book if you like a bit of sci-fi.
What was the pitch for that one? It's like Starship Troopers, except with water.
Yes. I really like the books, mainly because I think the British had a aircraft carrier called Ark Royal. I'm sure that was the case. But the premise of the story is there's a really big battleship called the Ark Royal that is going to be decommissioned, but aliens attack, and it just so happens that this big Ark Royal ship, its armor is a lot thicker than all the other new ships, that they created. So it can withstand the attack of the aliens. That's sort of like the premise of it all. It's a good book. I'm enjoying it. I was just thinking about films, and, there's an Indiana Jones movie. I think it's called The Last Crusade. Is it when they go under and there's all those rats that are in the sewers? And do rats behave the same as insect swarms, or are they more pack animals?
They're listed. They're one of the line items that are listed in the flocks, hordes, packs, and
that's about as big as you can get and still be a swarm, isn't it?
That's right. Once critters get bigger than that, then you probably are talking about individuals that you could actually attack. It's really a case of relative sizes. So like bugs to a human is one thing. That's how much smaller they are. You can't track them all or whatever, and they can get at you all over the place, right? So like for a giant, then all of a sudden, like, regular human cats maybe might be like that, or dogs or something like that. Suddenly they're bug sized to a giant, right? So you might want to use that kind of logic in a case like that. There's one more item that I wanted to call out because I don't think it gets enough love. The last kind of horde that they talk about in Monster Island and classic fantasy is a stampede.
Oh, nice.
Yes.
And it says, although technically not composed of small individuals, a stampeding herd of moderate or larger animals can pose a significant danger if they overrun a group. So you're going to get trampled.
Yeah.
Right.
Because they're not going to have to do any willpower check, because if they're stampeding, they're
right. It's a herd mentality.
Yeah.
It could
Literally.
even be humans, couldn't it?
Yes.
Oh, yes.
Yes. Well spotted. It could be
Yeah.
humans, and people, get trampled by crowds that stampede. It's
Yeah.
terrible. But yeah, it's a real life example.
So how do you defend against a stampede?
You get out of it, or you
Yeah.
get behind a rock or something so that the
yeah.
flow breaks around you. But other than that, that's why it's so dangerous. It really is.
All the sorcerers are now taking fly just so they can.
Yeah, right. If that's an excellent point. Suddenly, if you have magic at your disposal,
Yeah.
you can levitate or fly out of the horde or whatever. If it's ground based, if it's rats or something like that, creating physical separation is what you need. And it could just be 3 feet, but if it was 3 feet up, that would be perfect for rats or scorpions or whatever.
That the damage from a stampede is huge. I was just because as they come over, they're going to do multiple attacks to multiple areas, hit locations.
Right. That's why you don't bother with to hit rolls or anything else. You just apply some number of damage. And your armor would help you against the stampede. So if you're a knight in chainmail or plate mail, you'll do a little better.
For a minute.
But still, for a minute. Yeah.
Yeah, and I was just thinking about all the horns that are sort of like, bashing into people. Good grief. Let me make a note of that for my next adventure.
Right. So,
Yeah.
suppose you were one guy, okay, and you're being chased by, 6 bounty hunters that are trying to bring you in because the villain wants you dead or because you're a bandit and you broke the law and the law wants you.
Is this a film, Matt? Because I'm not very good at spotting films.
No, it's not.
No,
a
it's
film.
not.
It's just out of my own sick imagination.
Lived experience.
There you go. So I was on the lam, but if you come to a field of cows or sheep or something like that, and you can get across them and then trigger them, all of a sudden.
I mean, it's a lot of films, isn't it? The cowboys will set off the cattle or
right.
Yeah, I've seen
fire
it.
a gun in the air, and all of a sudden they all freak out. Or whatever. Yeah.
That is. I was just thinking of sorcerers who can dominate creatures and then tell them to charge. That would be fantastic.
Yeah. And if you have the ability to do this, whether you're a villain or a PC that has their back against the wall or whatever, it needs some help. All you have to do is, activate that and leave.
Yeah.
Leave the room. Just walk away. And super villains are famous for doing that, right? Leaving the heroes to die at the hands of the piranhas or whatever. And then James Bond always escapes or whatever.
Exactly.
Watch it be completed, but
right.
Yeah. Right. That won't happen in my campaign, I reassure you. they're going down. So what happens? Okay, so say, for example, let's go back to our wolves. I think that was a wonderful journey into stampede. I never thought about stampeding, so that's brilliant. Right. Go back to our wolves, and the party have not escaped. Okay, they have to stay there. How is it possible to survive that fight? Because I'm just thinking, lots of monsters or opponents means lots of action points, and possibly not enough action points to keep me alive.
So, we've talked about this quite a bit in the past couple of times we've met. The action point economy is king, essentially. And if you get outspent in the action point economy, people are going to get uncontested hits against you with special effects.
Yeah.
And so if your wolf wins a special effect, This is another thing that's not in the core rules because it was invented after the core rules because they realized that small animals with negative damage modifiers are not as effective as they should be. So there's this pack savage trait that the dogs in Mythic Rome have. And what it means is when they grip and shake you and start, really going to town on you as they do, their negative damage modifier doesn't count against them if they have one. So they had to introduce that little rules twist in there to make wolves and dogs be as scary as they should be. So not only do they grapple you and then rend where they don't even have to roll their attack roll again, they just start applying damage to you every action that they feel like it. They also don't have their negative damage modifier counting against them because they have this pack savage trait. Right. So that's really dangerous. Surviving
that's new for me. I didn't know that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right,
Surviving that is difficult. So once again, we come back to that idea where you need a way to not have to spend so many action points because you don't have as many to spend as they do. And so passive blocking is an excellent alternative where you can put up your big shield and hide behind it. And, they'll have to, land on a location that doesn't have the shield protection. That doesn't cost you any action points. You'll still get special effects against you, but I mean, what can you do? At least you're not outspent altogether. And the other thing I think we were talking about a little bit before, maybe you want to talk about, Pete, is the classic outmaneuver.
Oh yeah, there is that.
Yeah.
Also, I would say that while not necessarily being merciful, I think like if there's 50 wolves honing in on you, like you're not getting 50 attacks, right?
Not at
Probably
once.
Two or three of them at once. So
right.
Like, it's not as crazy. What's crazy is that if you survive this 2-on-1, there's another 2-on-1, and if you survive that, there's another 2-on-1.
Yeah, exactly.
There's endless. Yeah,
they'll wait their turn. Again, they have nothing else to do. They'll wait their turn, rather obediently, maybe, and not all go for you at once necessarily. But that is also sensible from their point of view because they minimize their risk to their person. Each one of them does if they don't attack all at once. Maybe, of course. The Mythras rules model this really well because we've talked about it. Peter talked about it one of the other times that we met recently. One of them will jump at you and nip at you, or maybe, move off, jump and move off, like to fake you out. You spend your action point parrying them, right? And then another one does it, and another one does it. You've spent your 3 action points, and then what? Then the other 8 guys come along and they can all attack you once. That's when they'll lunge at you, maybe.
Yeah.
So that it works perfectly according to the Mythras rules.
I was actually thinking, how many wolves could I get gripped onto a person? So like one on one arm, one on the other arm, one on each leg. Can you grip on the chest? That's what I was trying. And then I just had visions of these wolves all attached to this.
Well, because that's what happens, isn't it? Like, and once the first one holds you down, then the pile-on happens, doesn't it? That's when they think, we can finish it.
That's their signal to each other. Yeah. When one of them gets a grip on you and starts shaking and stuff, and then they don't have to spend, they might want to choose to spend an attack. Maybe they'll get a bleed on you also or something.
So that's then the fatigue going to come in.
If you start bleeding from multiple locations, that's another thing that's not in the rules. They don't talk about like, can an opponent score multiple bleeds on you?
Is it stackable?
If they hit you? Right. I always say that if they get you in different locations, they can.
Oh, yes. Yeah.
Right. So if they open up a big brachial artery in your arm and femoral artery in your leg, yeah, you're bleeding hard from two spots, and that's it. You will lose twice as fast in that case.
Yeah.
If it's the same location, I'll give that to the poor player character. But yeah, if you're really getting hammered everywhere, like from a wolf pack, you're done. You're just done.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, it's not the tame 1d6 hit points against your level 10 fighter that has 75 hit points or whatever.
Yeah.
And
exactly.
I can ignore these guys. They can't even. And in D&D, once again, you have as many defenses as you need because it's built into your armor class. You don't make a defense roll if they can't hit you because your armor class is too high and they're a level 2 monster or whatever. That's their problem. Again, it's not like that in D100 games, kids.
No, it's exactly. I was thinking about, I think it's in Infinity War, whatever it's called, when all the they're at the heroes, superheroes are at a place and there's loads of creatures attacking, and I think Captain America and even the Hulk in his battle armor actually get taken down because of the sheer
the horde,
the sheer number rather than anything else. And I think that really reflects the threat that pack animals can have. Did you want to add anything to that, Pete?
No. That's really
a good example.
I mean, that's kind of a stampede, isn't it?
Yeah. We were talking before about surprise in Mythras, I think, is lethal, but we'll definitely come back and talk about that again at a later date. We were talking about creatures' natural abilities beforehand, and we're talking about things like leap attacks. And I think it was one of you explain what leap attack is, or being a leaper, because I'll just mess it up. Has one of you got the rule book open? Or you'll probably know it off the top of your head. What is the leap trait?
So the leaper creature ability. I have the combat chapter here, but now you're going to make me find that. Okay, give me a sec.
That's in the monster bit.
Yeah, that's right. Give me a sec.
Yeah.
But basically, the idea is they can knock you down prone and get an attack if they beat you in an opposed roll of like athletics versus brawn or something. Let's
ouch.
Abilities. Yeah, it's pretty nasty. Page 216, Leaper. The creature uses leaping attacks as described on page 104 of the combat chapter, but can combine the leap with a physical attack such as a claw or bite. If the leaping creature wins the opposed leap attack roll, it automatically inflicts damage for one of its natural weapons on the target. This damage cannot be parried except by passive blocking. So that's a thing too.
That's you. Yeah, they're going to take you down. I don't think anybody can survive a wolf pack. I mean, because if they do wolves have that?
Not as written, but like we were chit-chatting before, they probably should, depending on how much you hate your players.
I want it to be a fair fight. These
well,
wolves...
then stop with the wolves.
I suddenly get this feeling that these wolves can take out a whole party so effectively.
Well, and that's the funny thing too. Let's think about that for a second. Their strategy, Peter alluded to this quite correctly. Their strategy is to figure out which one's the straggler, and to separate them from the other pack or the other flock that might be confronting them, right? So that's their natural tendency. That's what they do. So if you had a whole column of the army on a march or whatever, and there are 50 soldiers making all kinds of dust and noise and lighting fires and stuff, the wolves aren't going to mess with them. They're just going to watch and look. And once they see that everybody is still in formation and nobody's falling behind, unlike our examples before, once they see that the group is very large and there are no stragglers, they give up. They're like, oh, well, can't get them. If there's only a party of like 6 or 8 of you, and there are, a dozen wolves or 20 wolves, and they can see that one of you is a little farther away from the campfire, or one of you is lagging a little bit behind as you roll along through the countryside, that's when they will be. So there is safety in numbers, literally. That's where these old sayings come from, right? That kind of stuff. So, stay together. Stick together.
Unless there were war dogs that are the hounds have been released. And then
that's right.
Attack
dogs are different. They are trained specifically to attack. It's not about food. It's about attacking, because they get rewarded when they attack, and they've been given their keyword, and now they're going to attack you. And that's all there is. And they probably won't give up either. They probably, like fighting dogs and stuff. Fighting dogs won't give up. They'll fight until they die. They'll die with their jaws still gripped on you. Yeah. And that's it.
It reminds me.
Not so many of them.
Well, it's interesting, Peter, because I had visions of the Dark Riders. I forget what they're called. The 9 riders, the ring race. Riders, And that's a very similar in my head. They don't get fatigued. They're chasing after that person, but in the end, they're washed away by a little stream. But otherwise, they would actually catch up, wouldn't they?
That's right.
Yeah.
They had to face their own stampede.
Yes.
That's what that magic did in that case. And it also, there's this, why didn't they just, all right, so you want to get into it. Why didn't they just get them at the ferry, right?
Yes.
At Buckleberry Ferry. And the answer is because there's this old piece of lore that, spirits can't cross running water.
Is that why?
Right. And that's why they all stopped on the other side of the river when in the movie, when Arwen brought Frodo across, and then they decided, well, they made their willpower roll or whatever, their loyalty to the Dark Lord roll, and then they decided to cross the water, and then she had them, and that's when she got to zap them with her own stamp.
Rather than coming on horses, why didn't they just come on the Nazguls? Because that would have been...
They didn't have them yet. They didn't have them yet. They had to level up. They had to unlock those steeds.
Tolkien hadn't written it out.
Right. No, it's important. First, you have to have your minions knocked away so that they can come back later in a new improved form.
Yes.
He knew what he was doing, man.
It's discreet though, isn't it? The Black Riders on horses. They're like, there's no war in the land at that point.
Mm-hmm. That is true.
Yes. If they were flying around, they would get noticed. But if they're traveling on horses and stuff, it's more normal somehow. Right.
Yeah, they're freaking people out, but they are just talking to people, aren't they? They're asking, have you seen Baggins?
Yeah, they freak the hobbits out. Nobody else noticed them before they actually got to Hobbiton.
Well, I think everyone is disturbed by them, aren't they?
Yes.
Yeah, like they're scary, but it's just a guy on a horse.
Right.
Until you realize.
It's the horses that scare me silly. Those horses are really evil. They're
all about
nasty.
Atmosphere again.
Yeah. So we covered a lot today, as always. So I hope everybody's going to be going off and attacking their parties with wolf packs. And if you are a player, all I can say is either run really fast or climb a tree or something similar. And I think we're going to have a discussion about races and chases in the future. Is that right?
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Sure.
Races and chases. We really need to talk about surprise and darkness and the best situations to avoid fighting in. I think aerial mobs, I'm so looking forward to that because I love things like harpies, that are swooping down,
Yes. Boy, are you going to like this adventure I'm writing.
Yeah. I feel aerial mobs are superb for chargers because they can get that height. So they don't wander away from the combat area, if that makes sense. They just come up and then they just fly straight down and bang.
And
so,
you can't like
diving
countercharge them or anything. Yeah,
no. It's perfect. And you do get that feeling that because they're using the whole round to get there, I think that's right. People are trying desperately to pick them off before they bash in, so they do that in the space book that I'm reading. They do that with missiles. When missiles is fired at, all the point defense tries to kill, wipe them out before they hit. Thank you to both of you. I am super excited about putting a simple pack of wolves into my next campaign. And
excellent.
So if you get any hate mail, well, I've said that I'll do a one-off adventure for people who are looking to play. So that's going to be really in there. So thank you both for giving up your time once again. I am so much more knowledgeable about things now, so thank you. And what else can I say? Thank you for being on the podcast.
You're welcome.
Thank you for having us. Yeah, it's always a pleasure.
We'll see you again.
I have to admit, I came away from the chat thinking of so many ways I can use pack hunting animals like wolves or war dogs and insect swarms in my campaigns to strike utter fear into the players that these animals and creatures would be hunting. If you have experienced or survived being hunted by animals in your campaign, then do share your experience either in the comments on the YouTube or on the Discord. It would be great to hear how you managed to survive and what clever tactics you use to avoid being ripped to shreds. And that's it. Another episode of Mythras Matters completed. Before we finish, a quick reminder that there are two ways to support my RPG content. YouTube membership focuses on practical resources, including rules in play guides, campaign toolkits, and other downloadable materials to use at your table. The blue, green and red orders available through Ko-fi and Patreon are focused on developing the campaign world. Members can follow new material through World Anvil, read additional campaign content, and, depending on their order, help shape the world through naming opportunities and dice rolls. They offer different experiences, so please choose whichever suits you best. You'll find both links in the show notes. So until next time, have a great month of gaming, everyone, and I will chat to you all again in September. Until then, I hope all your opposed rolls succeed and grant you with a well-deserved special. Thanks for listening, everyone. See ya. Bye. The content of this podcast is covered by the Creative Commons Attribution 3.0 license, so please give appropriate credit if you are sharing or copying any part of this podcast. Thank you.